Hi, meteorologist Chris Tomer. Let's talk some mountain weather and ski conditions. And this is the On the Snow Before You Go forecast. We'll start out with a live camera from Alta, Utah, up there in Little Cottonwood Canyon. Obviously beautiful, totally sunny. They've got 432 inches for the season. I show you this because this is the kind of thing we're going to see for quite some time. Dry, warm spring skiing being kicked into high gear across a lot of the lower 48 with a giant dome of high pressure in control. So let's get into the analysis here. Radar satellite high and dry across the west. Giant ridge of high pressure settling in. I'd say, you know what, looking at any active weather, one of the hot spots going into this Wednesday, Thursday time frame is going to be the northeast. You can see this storm rolling up into the northeast right now. On the back side of it, between Wednesday night tonight into Thursday, we will have rain over to snow at some of the ski areas in the northeast. I'll show you those coming up, but that's really one of the hot spots. The other one is British Columbia, extreme Pacific Northwest into Canada up there and towards Banff. Those are really the only two spots because everything else, all the lower 48 is going to have mostly high pressure as we go through the next 5 days. Now that may start to change in next week, but here is the overall pattern. And like I was saying, I mean, you look for some of the blues, the magentas for snow indicators of accumulation. There really aren't any across the west. It's all up into British Columbia and all up into the northeast between Wednesday and Thursday. Otherwise, the polar jet, which is the main storm track for the winter and early spring, is in Canada for all intents and purposes, and it's all high pressure across the west with some influence from the southern jet, but that just means it's going to be warm. And again, spring skiing with a lot of temperatures even at 10,000 feet as we slide into this weekend, pushing 40, 50, 55 degrees in some cases. And that will certainly kick the spring melt into gear across the west. All right, so here's the jet stream. Notice the big ridging with the jet stream. Even as I push this ahead, look at this. I mean, the west is quiet until we get into early next week. So this is Monday. Notice there is a bit of a dip out over the Pacific and some green flowing into California and the Pacific Northwest. At least that represents somewhat of a change. So how does that look? Well, on the future radar and satellite, it's very quiet across the west. Again, many days of just warm weather. There might be, and you can kind of see a couple speckles of blue, and boy, are we searching here. But Friday morning, you might have a snow shower pass through the southern mountains of Colorado. And otherwise, that is it, unless you live up in British Columbia from Banff over to Whistler. Some of that will probably brush Baker at times, but I mean, even that, the storm track is really up into Canada. Okay, so Saturday, I mean, you're talking just spring skiing in Utah, Colorado, Wyoming, Idaho, Montana, California, Taos. So that's Sunday. As we push into Monday, there are some changes. Look at the little bit of rain, a little bit of precip hitting the Pacific Northwest right there represented. And you saw that dip of the Jets. So, you know, looking at accumulation, I mean, it's just a reflection of what we've been talking about here with mostly high pressure across the west. I mean, I could roll this straight through Sunday and show basically nothing across the lower 48. We'll do this in stages. That's Wednesday. That's by Thursday morning. So by Friday morning, I mean, it's honestly more the same. There's just a little speck of blue right there. You see it in Colorado? That's it. Friday morning, if you're skiing on Friday, I'd ski up in the Pacific Northwest, British Columbia for that matter, Banff over to Whistler. And then that's Friday morning. As we slide into Saturday morning, I mean, it's really just more of the same. You know, if you stay up in British Columbia, you're probably in the best shape of all. That's by Saturday. So let's move into Sunday, and there really isn't much of anything. I mean, it's all up there. Again, that's where your best conditions are going to be. Now, by Monday, we start to see a little bit of that precip swing in to the west coast, and it's very slow in arriving on the last frame of this. I mean, a little bit around Bachelor, but things, you know, we might start to see a little bit more precip, a little more activity by mid to late next week moving into the west, but man, that's a long way off. Okay, so what about the northeast? The northeast could see some snow between tonight and Thursday, and you can see it here. This would be a grand total by Monday, but really it's just at the front end of that I'm thinking we could see 1 to maybe 5 inches there from Mount Snow up to Jay Peak and over to Mount Washington for that matter. So if you're skiing up in the Pacific, if you're skiing in the Northeast, I would shoot for Thursday morning. That's probably when you're going to find the best conditions. All right, so this is the last video forecast that I'll be doing until we push the calendar ahead to fall, essentially. So I've really appreciated everybody tuning in here for these On the Snow reports. I hope you have a great spring season. Take care.